What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the bar. Today, we're talking about one simple thing. Could Deku be a powerless hero like Batman? This idea has been a hot topic amongst the anime community in the past couple of months, and I'm surprised at the amount of people that actually believe that Deku couldn't function as a hero without a quirk. So, today, I'm going to argue the case that he absolutely could. So, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and let's go get some drinks! Alright, so like I said, this idea is coming straight from Twitter. Sometime in the last month or so, there was a heavy debate about whether or not you could be a quirkless hero. And before I even go into the whole Batman spiel that I got planned, the first inkling that Deku could have been a competent hero without a quirk is from the universe that he resides in. Primarily, one of the people that I make tons of videos about, the vigilante Knuckle Duster. I've explained who this guy is several times, so if you don't know who Knuckle Duster is, I suggest you check out the backstory video that I made on him that's in the card above right now. But pretty much, this guy is a quirkless vigilante, and people would say that he's like an homage to characters like Wildcat, Midnighter, Punisher, the Bat Family, pretty much anybody who savagely beats somebody to defeat them. But then within the My Hero Academia universe itself, you have people that don't necessarily have a quirk that alters their fighting. You have people like Aizawa and Shinzo. Their quirks don't give them super strength or the ability to shoot fire, but what it does is helps them level the playing field. Aizawa has to rely on his sheer fighting strength after he erases the quirk of somebody, meaning he needs to have a strategy. And he has to utilize gadgets that help augment his quirk, whether it's his caltrops or his knife or his capture tape. So when you think about it, Deku could be a quirkless hero. Come on, when we first meet Deku, the first thing that we see is that he's a student of the game. This guy loves heroes as much as he wants to be one. He studies them religiously. And in the beginning, when One For All would literally destroy his limbs, we saw him more as a defensive fighter. And if he were to instigate, he would fight smart. For instance, when participating in the UA Sports Festival, he gets through the beginning relatively unharmed by doing some big brain Batman shit. What I mean by big brain Batman shit is throughout the entire event and the series of My Hero Academia itself, Deku always finds himself mimicking his opponents, particularly someone like Bakugo. But it's always in his own special way. Because in the beginning of the series, when he was unable to control the sheer power of his quirk, he would see quirks like Todoroki's or Bakugo's quirks as the most advantageous. So what does he do? He tries to mimic the moves of his opponents in his own special way. He premeditates these attacks and tries to accommodate for any faults that might occur. You know who else steals the fighting tactics and abilities of his enemies to create gadgets and build strategy? Batman. Whether it's stealing Mr. Freeze's freeze gun and turning it into cryo grenades, or stealing the electrocutioner's gauntlets and creating shock gauntlets. I mean, even stealing Scarecrow's gas. If Deku was quirkless, we would see him adapt more of that type of fighting style where he would use anything at his disposal to accomplish the mission. And when I mean Deku might resort to using underhanded tactics, I mean he might do things that people might not consider hero-like. Yeah, Todoroki can use the heaven-piercing ice wall and completely immobilize Sero, but if Deku picked up part of the arena and started beating Todoroki in the face with it, people would be like, oh my god, this guy is just beating the shit out of somebody with a slab of concrete. Also, that fight probably would have been a lot more ridiculous if Deku was quirkless. But in general, he might have had a whole different type of mentality going into that fight. Because if Deku still had that type of mentality, he wouldn't be that type of person to pick up a slab of concrete and hit someone in the face with it. Deku would probably still find a way in the end to get back to the main purpose of that fight, which was to help Todoroki get over the fact that his quirk is his own quirk and not his father's. I mean, think about it. What if somebody that didn't have a quirk at all gave Shoto that speech instead? That speech that Deku gave him could have easily became the, you think you're great because you have a quirk? Some people aren't blessed with that. You won't even use it because you don't even think it's your own kind of speech, you know? For Deku, there would be a lot more preparation in taking down villains. The fight versus Stain, Deku had already had that advantage because of his blood type. But now imagine if Stain got taken down by somebody who was quirkless. Instead of zipping down the alleyway and cracking Stain in the face, we would probably have seen more of like an assassination type of strike on Stain. Maybe chokeholds. I think Vocal Pineapple actually did a video about what if Deku knew MMA. You could watch that video, or you could kind of, think that if he had MMA training coupled with One For All, he would probably be snapping people's arms off with arm bars. But either way, he would probably have to know MMA if he was quirkless. But those various types of martial arts would be the things that causes him to have the advantage over certain people. Stain himself is already a super brash fighter when he charges in recklessly. We saw that when he decided to challenge a quirkless hero in the beginning when he tried to take on Knuckle Duster. Knuckle Duster cracked Stain right in the face and obliterated his face to what we know it as now. Playing to a villain's hubris is also going to be a big part of this. For Deku, he has to win the mind game and the physical game. Deku usually succeeds at doing both, but without a quirk, you really have to get inside someone's head. In the beginning, people thought that Batman was a myth. The fear of encountering him was a superpower all in itself. But I digress. The real reason why this could absolutely be factual is because Deku is the type of person that's proven time after time that nothing was going to stop him from becoming a hero. Quirks have become so naturalized in this universe that it would actually be kind of unique to see someone that was a gadget-based hero. Imagine if Deku had a stronger relationship with someone like Mei Hatsume. Mei creates every single one of Deku's gadgets right now, and if it weren't for her, the Air Force gauntlets wouldn't even be a thing that he could use. And if Deku didn't have a quirk, we would probably see him go to her a lot more frequently and ask for things to get made. Also, if Deku entered UA officially as a quirkless individual, I think the sports festival or during certain things, they probably would have granted him support items if they needed them. The reason why I say this is because Oyama was able to bring his belt to the festival because without it, his quirk wouldn't be harnessed. Also, the fight against Shinzo would be even more ridiculous. It would be like, yo, you don't even have a quirk, why are you in the hero class? But with that being said, we would see a whole new type of technical Deku. We would see him build gadgets, we would see him build strategies, we'd see him be more of a detective probably. It would just be a completely different type of story. He would be more like Batman instead of Superman in this aspect. And, there would be no All Might too. I for one would love to see Deku start taking things from his enemies and using it against them. Deku already figured out how to mimic Bakugo's moves once. Imagine if he ups the ante by jumping and then shoving a grenade that he created from looking at Bakugo's quirk down someone's shirt or pants after rocking them in the face using the techniques that he stole from him again. Also, the reason why I'm saying Deku would have to eventually figure out how to create his own gadgets is because, after Batman is usually given a prototype or usually given a guideline on how to do something, he does it himself. But if you did want to see Batman kind of become Batman and kind of do the impossible, I would really suggest everyone checks out the more modern adaptation of Batman's first year as Batman. Yeah, there's the iconic Batman Year 1, but in the early 2010s, Batman Zero Year was a thing. In Batman Zero Year, there was a little vignette at the end of each story where you would see Batman learning a skill that kind of made him Batman. Whether it was seeing him with a crazy mad scientist, and the mad scientist is trying to get him to make the possible from the impossible. We see him train with a magician to learn how to be an escape artist. He steals from his own company in South America with a famous car thief, and the famous car thief shows him the inspiration on how to create something like the Batmobile. Within each of these stories, whether we're looking for a compassionate person, an amazing character, whatever it may be, when it's a story of being a hero, we don't necessarily have to be excited to see what the hidden power is inside of the individual. In the end, we want to see how they can accomplish their goals in their own way, and the payoff is just seeing how they get there, and then accomplish the goal. If it's Batman, you keep wondering how a mortal man can keep up with these gods and these people that have extraordinary powers. For Deku, you see someone that had no power whatsoever acquire the greatest power ever possibly conceived, and now he has to build his legacy as a successor to that power. But if he didn't have it, don't sleep on the guy. He could have absolutely been a competent hero if he didn't have the means to even be one. But if anything, we've seen a less analytical Deku. Because now that he has a quirk, his analysis has kind of taken a backseat to training and honing his own abilities. I mean, Deku has 5 or 6 quirks left to learn and master? He's like the Avatar on crack at this point. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of the show. But yeah, I'm sure there's even more reasons why Deku could operate as a quirkless hero. These are kind of all the ones that I kind of have right now. If you have better reasoning on why or why not he couldn't operate as a hero without a quirk, throw it in the comments down below. I'm also working on something special for my channel, like I said in the previous video. Hopefully channel memberships will be live, let's say, in September, October-ish. And the hunt for a mascot I feel like is officially over, and I really hope you guys like it because it's kind of looking pretty cool right now. But either way, I'm getting out of here. Open bar until the end of the night. I gotta buy new stuff anyway. Peace!